John Adams joins us now of the Knoxville News Sentinel. His appearance is brought to you by our good friends at Newbert Collision Center. John, how are you, sir?
Doing well, Dave. Thanks.
All right. We've had great bench off 2024. What are your thoughts on having great squat off 2024?
The same as the bench off. Don't know, don't care, don't know, don't want to know. Just an awful idea. Well, I say that. It's probably a good promo for you.
Yeah. Okay. So we'll do that. All right. Now, I can't squat at all. John, you know me and my knees. I can't do that. All right. It is time for Bank on It, brought to you by Commercial Bank. And Commercial Bank is where I've been banking for over 25 years. Commercial Bank, member FDIC, life made better. So bank on it, John. Tennessee will either be a darling for the college football playoff, given that they could theoretically put a home game in Neyland Stadium, which I think would be huge, or that Tennessee gets the short end of the stick from the college football playoff, like I thought they did in 2022 when they were ranked behind Alabama. So if you had a bank on one, brought to you by Commercial Bank, what would you bank on?
I'd bank on the first one. 22, the problem with that, it was that embarrassing loss to South Carolina. That was just an horrendous game, a mediocre South Carolina team. So what you don't want to have when you go before the selection committee, you don't want to have any glaring evidence that this team might not be quite good enough. You just want to minimize any potential red flags that signify weakness, and that was a glaring problem for Tennessee, I thought, in 22. This team, the thing about this team, yeah, it had a bad loss to Arkansas because I was a mediocre team. However, it was only a 5-point game. Nobody's blowing Tennessee out. Coming close to that. Tennessee's competitive in every game, even though it hasn't won that impressively. So I think that trend will continue. For example, Georgia's not going to blow Tennessee out. That'll be a close game.
Yep, I agree. Caleb, do you think that the college football playoff committee, if Tennessee is in a precarious position where they could go one direction or another, do you think they get the benefit of the doubt by the college football playoff committee, or do you think not?
I think if they get the benefit of the doubt, it's because of their ratings draw and because of them potentially playing a home game. But I want to say this. I think they won't. I think there would be an actual reflexive move to not give them the benefit of the doubt. And John, I want to know your thoughts on this. I think the peripheral CFP voter thinks of Tennessee as the exciting, high-flying offense with Josh Heupel, the one that's going to put up a lot of points, which, by the way, makes for good TV in a college football playoff.
Yeah.
And not seeing that this year is going to concern them, even though they're going to ignore the fact that Tennessee's so great defensively.
Well, see, I really, Caleb, I really don't know just how deeply this selection committee dives into all this stuff. You would like to think it would go very deep. You want to analyze all sorts of weaknesses and strengths of every team, but I don't think that at all. I think
Randall McDaniel is on there. Randall McDaniel is on there. Randall McDaniel, the guy who played defensive line for the Vikings for a number of years, he's on there.
Why is he on there?
I have no idea. John, you know more college football than I do, and I could go and list the college football playoff committee members. I think Adam Sparks may have written about it after I did it. He probably stole it from here. But you don't know 75% of those dudes.
Yeah.
I mean, a bunch seriously, as much as John's been around college football, John's been around college football since it began. And I bet you that he doesn't know all of the college football. Not quite that long. Okay, bank on it right now. John, Caleb, and I could do a better job of picking the teams in the college football playoff, brought to you by Commercial Bank.
Commercial Bank is your neighborhood bank. What makes us different from other banks? We understand that every customer has unique opportunities, challenges, and financial concerns. We don't expect you to fit into the same box as the next person or business. Whether it's purchasing a home, saving for your child's future, or planning for your next vacation, we're with you every step of the way to navigate life's big decisions. Commercial Bank. Life made better.
So, John, let me run through these real quick, and you stop me when you know who this person is. Chris Alt. Chet Gladchuck. We know who Jim Grobe is. Ward Manuel.
How much? What? Who?
Ward Manuel. Do you know who he is?
No, not really.
Mm-hmm. Me neither. Randall McDaniel. We know who he is. Long career in the NFL. I have no idea. I mean, he must have won. It must have been like Willy Wonka's golden ticket. That's the only thing I think, that Randall McDaniel buys a Hershey's and there's like this golden ticket in it. And he goes, you get to be on the college football playoff committee. Gary Pinkel, we know who that is. Mac Rhodes, we know who Mike Riley is. Can't find a coaching job, so just be on the committee. David Saylor, I don't know who he is, but he might have been the guy that was behind Oxycontin. We'll check on that. Will Shields, Kelly Whiteside, Carla Williams.
Wait a minute. Will Shields?
Yes, Will Shields.
I know who that is.
Kind of, or you completely know who that is?
No, I really do. He was an offensive lineman for Nebraska. He was one of the best offensive linemen I've ever seen in college football. I'm not saying he should be on the committee. I was just stunned that I actually knew somebody on the committee. Like a long lost friend came back. I was great.
Yeah, no, I remember Will Shields as well, actually, but more from his time with the Kansas City Chiefs. But in all honesty, could the three of us do a better job of picking the college football playoff rankings?
Oh, there's no doubt about it. I mean, I'm not joking. That simply because we watch so much ball. I mean, this isn't rocket science. Yeah. It's just knowing what's going on in college football. I mean, Caleb sits there and analyzes every coaching performance on a college football weekend. It amazes me. Think of it. I mean, there are a few ex-coaches on there. Think about the coaches poll, which is sponsored by my company. Maybe I shouldn't get too deeply into this, but I mean, some of those coaches polls through the years are just awful. The decisions they make, how they rank whom. I mean, I always have thought the media poll was better. I think guys take it more seriously and watch more football. How much football do you think these coaches were watching on? I mean, they got to worry about their own game. They're so single-minded.
Are you disrespecting these coaches?
They don't have an awareness. I'm sorry if it came across that way.
How dare you? How could you do such a thing? Sorry. I'll let you know, John.
Just this idea that these people are going to be, this is a great meeting of the minds, and they'll spend all this time and they'll analyze this and that, and they'll come out with the best teams without a doubt. I don't have any confidence they will do that.
What about, Dave, let me jump in real quick because I want to ask you guys this because we talked about it before the set. Like, I want to take it a step further to what Dave talked about me before you came on, John, which is are these rankings contrived? Do you think the whole reason they have rankings in the season to begin with is just so people know to just give people an idea of what games they want to be watching that weekend, John? Because there's no point to do weekly college football rankings. I mean, the selection committee doesn't do a weekly selection show.
It's the same thing it's always been, even before there was a lot of televised games. It's publicity. They generate publicity for college football. That's what the rankings do. That's all it is.
If I'm Alabama and LSU, I go into this college football ranking saying to myself, I'm probably going to get a boost because we play each other this week, and it makes the game look a little bit better. But I know that's fool's gold for the rest of the selection process.
Well, yeah. I mean, I think Alabama versus LSU is certainly an elimination game, so it almost has a playoff tone to it. So, yeah, there'll be a lot
But
of
you don't need
interest in that
weekly
game. But
rankings.
because of the 12-team play, the what?
I said, but you don't need
What,
weekly
Caleb?
rankings. You don't need weekly rankings to tell you that. You just know that it's an elimination game.
Well, I know that, but this is it generates publicity, and that's what it's free
Exactly.
advertising. Top 25 poll. It's just a
Exactly.
part of. It's just deeply embedded in college football, and that's not going to change. They're always going to have rankings.
Yeah,
Bank on it. Bank on it. There's one person on the committee that John's did not speak up and say that he knows, and he probably should. Brought to you by Commercial Bank.
Commercial Bank is your neighborhood bank. What makes us different from other banks? We understand that every customer has unique opportunities, challenges, and financial concerns. We don't expect you to fit into the same box as the next person or business. Whether it's purchasing a home, saving for your child's future, or planning for your next vacation, we're with you every step of the way to navigate life's big decisions. Commercial Bank. Life made better.
All right, John. It's Kelly Whiteside here. Are you familiar with her?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, then I'll give you that then, because you didn't speak up, and she works for your company. So to me, that's somebody that you should be aware of.
Why is she on the committee?
I don't know. Why aren't you on the committee or your buddy Mr. Topmeyer instead? I hear you're all's writing, and now Blake is a national writer. I still see his stuff. I don't know why Kelly Whiteside's on there.
Well, I probably shouldn't comment on that. But
She
good
might-
for her.
Might be your.
I'm sure
good
she'll
for
do a
her.
great job and represent the company well. What?
Well, and this is there's more to it, because the reason I harp on like in-season rankings is they damage their own credibility by doing it. Last year, just to give you guys a quick rundown, they had Florida State at number 4 leading into the ACC, leading into conference championship week. Florida State then goes and beats Louisville. Texas beats Oklahoma State. Louisville is higher ranked than Oklahoma State. But then they flip it and put Texas in the college football playoff, which they should have done. I'm not denying that. Texas was better. But why would you had no rationale to flip it except for acknowledging, yeah, we shouldn't have had Florida State ranked higher to begin with.
Well, yeah, you can find
John?
all kinds of contradictions in that. I mean, that the whole Florida State thing brings up another point. But because it's his quarterback, I mean, it's just pretty much eliminated from the process. We talk about Tennessee's great defense. Sometimes it can keep you in the game, even when your quarterback goes. So, well, I'm getting off on a tangent here. Never mind that.
No, that's understandable. Let me ask you this, though. With the college football playoff, I know why it's not just a formula, but in my opinion, I would have a BCS formula. The reason it's not is because they want to put this TV show together, and you will see 5 million advertisers. Nothing wrong with that. But John, you will see 5 million advertisers during the program, and that's the reason it's not it's not just a formula that you and I could predict, that you and I could put out there. It's not. And they want to make a television show each week out of this, John. So how would you do it if you were the czar of college football? How would you do it?
I would just have me, John Adams, select the teams.
All right. I like that.
I wouldn't have any. I don't want any BCS formula in there either. I'll just pick the teams. I won't have any problem with that. I can be very objective.
Okay, but why in the world would you not like a BCS formula? Am I the only one that likes the BCS formula?
I hope so. I remember when they had all that nonsense. They had all those different formulas and factored into the BCS selection. It was nonsensical. I'm not big on analytics. I know Caleb is, but that speaks to his generation. But I mean, I go more with the eye test. You can pump any kind of facts you want into a computer and come up with some formula, but there are too many variables. I don't buy that at all. Just let me pick the teams.
I'm kind of okay with that.
I would be okay with your Caleb picking the teams, honestly. I think you could be objective out of respect for the game.
No, I could. I definitely would.
Yeah,
What was the politician that was on it the first year?
Condoleezza Rice.
Yes, Condoleezza Rice. So let me ask you this: would Kamala Harris rather win the election tonight or be on the college football playoff committee? I mean, when you had Condoleezza Rice on it, when you had Condoleezza
I don't want
Rice
her on any kind of committee. I don't want Kamala Harris on any committee. Okay.
When you had Condoleezza Rice on there, no offense to her, I think she's an exceptional human being. But didn't we all roll our eyes a little bit?
Well, I mean, she's probably just as good as some of those other hacks they have on it.
Fair.
I mean, this is the thing. The whole committee is, that's part of the TV show. And if you ever watch the intro to the college football playoff, like rankings each week, they have them like throwing down their notepads and throwing down their pens and leading us to believe they took insane extreme notes. Like they were a jury deliberating on the results of the game. I'm like,
give me a break.
I don't even need to watch the games. I'm a resume guy. I'm like, give me the resume of these teams. And I can tell you, this isn't that hard. It's not that complicated for the most part. There's usually, is there ever a debate about more than maybe two teams?
You know what? I voted in the AP poll a lot of years. And when I would do it was really frustrating to me to watch how some people voted. I mean, they would pick their preseason rankings, and then it would take an act of Congress for them to move one of those teams. I mean, It was almost like their ego was invested in their preseason rankings. It's not supposed to be. You can predict how you think the top 25 will end up in your preseason rankings, who you think will be the best. But these things should change dramatically from week to week. It should be all about what a team has accomplished. It's simple.